The real estate market numbers are in for Lafayette Parish for 2022. And man, what a wild ride did we have last year. We saw rates from the twos all the way over to the sevens. What can we expect for, what did we see and what can we expect moving on into 2023? Hey, this is Robbie Breaux with Robbie Breaux and team at eXp Realty. And as always, the numbers that we get are coming off of Market Scope Consulting. But we want to, instead of looking at a bunch of numbers, what do they mean and where is it heading? So let's dive right in. I'm going to jump in and take a look. So if you take a look at the graph right here, we've got the red line represents 2021, blue line represents 2020. Let me go and jump in so you guys can see a little bit more of the numbers that pop in. Obviously, we got a 401 versus 271, which is the total. We had a difference of about 130 different fewer homes sold this year compared to last year. That represents almost a 33% decrease in total number of sales. That puts us down 16% on the year to date. And before everybody starts freaking out thinking that it's absolutely terrible, guess what? Believe it or not, we actually eclipsed 2020's numbers, which is crazy numbers with COVID, by like a handful of properties, 2 to be exact. The resales were down right at 18% year to date. New construction was down by 10% year to date. Overall, still a really, really, really solid year. We actually had the second best year on record as far as total number of units, as well as total dollar volume. Our average days on market are still down compared to where they were in 2021. We were down from 35 down to 31, difference of 5 days. So we take a look at the bottom, 2019, we are almost 19% higher than 2019, our last normal year. We're almost 20% higher than 2018, 26% than 17, so on and so forth. So overall, while you guys can probably watch some of the media headlines that sales are down 30%, it's not all doom and gloom. You got to remember too, beginning of the year, this is all outlier. And we actually finished off the year with a nice increase in total number of sales. Normally December is dead. Everybody's worried about making sure Santa's taken care of. So normally we actually see a dip from November to December, with the exception of the last couple of years. That's not, this has been kind of out of the ordinary. We had if you notice my little, my arrow, we've had kind of a slow, steady decline from July to November. Chances are the bottom of, the skid is probably there. We're, as of January, we're starting to see a lot more activity as far as showings are showing up. Buyers are really starting to jump out and start to make some decisions. That's not, we're going to go and dive into what's happening moving forward. So we talked about units there. Next up is dollar volume. Dollar volume, another big difference, dip in between from 110 million to 74 million. This is everything that's pulled out from MLS. 33% decrease. We're down 9% year to date. So we had about a 16% year to date difference in units, 9% year to date in total dollar volume. Lafayette Parish, second time ever, eclipsed $1 billion. Dr. Evil from Boston Powers, eat your head off. We knocked it out again. So overall, very strong. New construction did well. We were up a little over 3.5% in new construction. Resales down year to date. As far as dollar volume, right at 13%. Again, while a lot of these numbers look like doom and gloom, we're comparing them into something that just doesn't happen. It's a little bit of an anomaly whenever we're checking those out. So again, we saw a steady pattern and a little bit of a dip. We saw an increase in dollar volume come December 2022. Overall, those are good signs moving forward. When we compare to 2020, dollar volume is ahead by 18%, almost 50% compared to our last normal year. So year to date, that's where that happens to be. So where did that big growth come? We actually had a big chunk of it come in the first quarter. This again, when rates were in the twos. So things were just, all of this was kind of all over the place. The last half of the year, the last third of the year, rather, this is when we started fighting with sixes, upper fives, sixes, even 7% interest rates, which obviously took a little bit of steam out of the market that was coming in there. But overall, year to date, we landed well. Pending residential sales. So this is what happens. This is homes that are going to be coming off the market moving forward. looking into 2023, we had 306 compared to last year, at 205 this year. That's a difference of 33%. Up as far as year to date, we had a 24.5% year to date increase in total number of pending sales that occurred. Overall, life was pretty good. We didn't see quite the big bump this last quarter of 2021. This is when we saw the last major drop with the interest rates. And again, come March, April, May is when we started seeing a steady increase in those interest rates, those mortgage interest rates for the 30-year fixed. Not to go and jump into dollar volume, but moving forward towards new listings taken. So this is one that's really interesting. While we did see a pretty decent sized decrease in total number of pending sales, the homes that came onto the market, think of it as new signs that come onto the yard, that actually has been dropping drastically since August, from 392 all the way down to 183. So the available inventory for things to be able to choose from, that was down 41%. So, normally think negatives worse. We actually had about an 8% margin in between total number of closed sales, total number of pending sales from December over December. Fewer things to be able to choose from. So fewer things are coming onto the market than there are coming off the market. Overall, still starts to shrink the supply that ends up for buyers to be able to choose from. So when we go and look at it, year to date, our total number of homes for sale dropped 17%. So still lots of things that we need to go to as far as, we're going to see a little bit more of that kind of tick up come spring. This is typically when everybody starts getting ready to go put their house up on the market. So moving past outside Lafayette Parish, whenever we do year to date, I like to go in and talk about some of the different geo areas from different zip codes, Carencro, Scott, all that other fun stuff. So area B, C, and D, this is kind of the North Lafayette Carencro area. We saw roughly a 22% in Upper Lafayette. Carencro had roughly 11 to 14% as far as closed dollar volume. You can see these numbers here. This right here talks about our number of months supply. We're going to jump back there into a little bit more detail in a little bit. Number of months supply basically says how many homes you have on the market, how many homes have sold, how long will it take the number of homes to go on the market to go to the number of homes that have sold. How many months will that take, assuming nothing new comes on the market? All of these numbers right here are less than 6 months. Typically speaking, whenever you see a 6-month market supply of homes on the market, that doesn't favor doesn't favor buyers, doesn't favor sellers. Closer you get to 6, favors one versus the other. The lower the number favors the seller, the higher the number favors the buyer. That means they've got more things to choose from for the buyer, less things to choose from for the seller. Checking this one all the way back down, if you can kind of take an eye on what's going on. If you're interested, obviously, if you want some more information for your particular home, whether you're living in the middle of Lafayette, in the outskirts of Scott or Dusson, Youngsville, Broussard, happy to go break these down, even down to the micro level, down onto your neighborhood to see what that happens to look like. So same thing on existing sales. Our numbers right here, way down as far as the number of month supplies to be able to jump through. Overall, there was some negatives as far as the total number of dollar volumes. Again, we're comparing it to an anomaly. We never run into years like 2021 with rates in the 2s and 3s. And Lord willing, we don't have to deal with that. So we don't have to see massive improvements as far as, or massive appreciation. Makes it a little bit tougher for buyers to be able to jump out there and get into it. So moving on, this is actually going to jump into all properties. We talked about overall health of the market and how long properties are staying on the market, depending on what your price range is. If you're able to zoom in and see some of these numbers right here, some of the quadrants that are out here, 150 to 299, this is where the bulk of all of our activity comes from. The total number of sales, 56% of those sales come in the 150 to 299.9. We had a decrease of 23% as far as the total number of sales, an increase in the total number of active listings of 57%. So we have a little bit more to choose from inside there, but only a 1.5 month supply of inventory. When we're jumping into 300 and above, the upper end range, if you will, 31% of all those sales occurred here. That's an 8% increase. And we had a 60% increase in the total number of homes for sale. So where did most of those come from? Those homes are starting to come into the upper, we have a lot more in the 300 to 350, getting more in the 350 to 400, 400 to 450 is starting to see an increase. And then the homes that are taking a little bit longer to come off the market, 900 and above, we're actually starting to see double digit at the 900 to 999 million and above. Quite a few sales. We have quite a few listings. This is 27. We had 35 sales over $1 million last year. Strong market, despite all the craziness that happened with the interest rates that are running through right there. So that being said, what do interest rates happen to be looking like today? Checking homes out right now, you are going to be looking to be roughly in the lower sixes, depending on what happens next week when the CPI numbers come back. That's going to show what the inflation happens to be looking like. If those numbers come down, you can expect to see our mortgage rates drop some more. So that is some news that we are anxiously anticipating to check that out. So what are predictions moving on into 2023? With those prices, the supply being down compared to where it was before, we're still running into fewer things to be able to choose from. That hasn't brought a whole lot of prices down. Now, the homes that we are seeing on the market are sticking around a little longer. What we have found is they are still pricing it at pre 5 and 6% interest rates. Those have been, they've been stretching on the market. So we are seeing buyers a little bit more flexibility when it comes to paying some closing costs, whether it's working on getting those payments down. We got some great information as far as the 2-1 buy down, which can help bring your payment down a few $100s, depending on what your mortgage amount happens to be, and be able to go and jump in and still be able to afford it before rates end up going up. End up going down, which they're anticipating to go within the next 6 months to 12 months is what some of the pundits are talking about. Great time to be able to jump in, because we're having sellers that are making some moves and negotiating a little bit more than they were before. This is going to be able to help you when it comes to either turn around and refinancing or working that lower payment with the 2-1 buy down right now. So again, right now, lower sixes with the ability to drop them down and save you a little bit of money. If you're interested in finding out what that happens to look like for you, we are seeing the move up buyer. We're still seeing lots of strong offers running in. So you have the potential to still take advantage of 2021 market activity, depending on how you price it, get a little bit of money down off the side. So that move up buyer is in a real good position to be able to kind of get their cake and eat it too. So if you want to see what that happens to look like, I'd love to hear from you. Give me a call on my personal cell. You can shoot me a direct message. The number is 337-658-5690. I'd love to hear from you. We'll see you next time.